The Thomas ERTL range was a range of die-cast Thomas characters launched in 1985 in the UK, and was the first iteration of the die-cast range. By the time the range itself was discontinued in 2004, there was a very large range of vehicles, from Railway Series exclusive characters to vehicles only seen in the background for a few seconds. There may have been a large range of characters in the ERTL range, but were the models themselves good? Definitely not, and in this video, I am going to explain why. The first reason ERTL is bad is the proportions of the models. The proportions of the models in the ERTL range are very inconsistent. Toby's model towers above large engines like Gordon, when Toby is meant to be smaller than Gordon. Another example of this is ERTL Toad with Oliver. His model also towers above Oliver, when they are meant to be the same size. Other examples of small engines being way bigger than they are meant to include models like Lady and the Coldie-Felt engines. Also, some of the models, for example Thomas, are longer than they appear in the TV series, making some of them look weird against each other. The second reason is the length of the engines. The length of the large engines are very long. This restricts how you can move them around curves. With smaller engines it's fine. You can easily move them around tighter curves, but with the larger engines you can't. They have no bogies on their chassis, meaning they can't be turned around normal sized curves, and have to be rotated 90 degrees round instead of turning round like engines normally do. On the topic of large engines, the tender engines have the tenders moulded into them instead of being separate. If the tenders were separate from the larger engines, it would solve the problem of them not being able to go around normal sized curves for the most part. The third reason is the wheels of the models against the weight of the models. The way the wheels are made against the weight of the models cause there to be difficulty keeping the wheels upright, making it more difficult to move them. The lighter engines don't have this problem that much, but the heavier engines like Toby do. The fourth reason is the couplings. The ERTL couplings are very bad. Pre-2002, the couplings were the same on engines back and front, meaning you couldn't couple engines together. This was a poor design choice for ERTL, as most kids would want to couple their favourite characters together, and not having that play feature takes away that from them. This was rectified, however, in 2002, so I will give them that. The couplings on the ERTL models are very fragile, and very often these would snap apart and take away the feature of coupling models together completely. Before the 2002 couplings, when the front couplings on the rolling stock were uncoupled from engines, kids would pull the engine from them, snapping off the pin coupling. The front couplings weren't any better, as the plastic was quite cheap, causing them to snap off easily when in collision with things. The plastic footplates in general are very flimsy and brittle, which could cause the entire footplates to snap off. The Adventures range did plastic couplings far better. The fifth reason is the use of stickers. Stickers were used on the ERTL models for buffer, cab, window and whistle decals. The adhesive on these stickers were very bad. The stickers peel off very easily and leaves part of the stickers on the models, making them look terrible. Stickers are terrible for use as decals on toys that get a lot of play out of them, as it only leads to them coming right off and ruining the toys. The sixth and final reason is the faces. A lot of the faces on the ERTL models are very questionable and very inaccurate to their TV series appearances. The faces are one of the most important parts of a Thomas character, and it's important they look more accurate to how their faces actually look. Another thing about the faces is how engines like Diesel have their faces a part of the die-cast mold, meaning the paint on the faces can easily be scratched off, ruining the face. In 2004, the ERTL line was replaced by the Take-Along range. The Take-Along range fixed a lot of issues the ERTL range had. The sizes of the engines were how they were meant to be. Longer engines had wheel bogies to allow them to turn better, and engines had separate tenders. The wheels were a lot better. The couplings were replaced by square magnet couplings that didn't break. The engines could be coupled both ways. All decals were now printed, and while not 100% accurate to the TV series models yet, the faces were a huge improvement. Like most bad things, there are a couple good things about the ERTL range. Of course, like I mentioned at the very start of the video, is the large range of models available to collect in the range, and how the most minor vehicles that only appeared in the background for mere seconds were available. Another good thing about the ERTL range is how ERTL nailed the off-rail vehicles. I think this is mainly because of how ERTL mostly produced road vehicle toys outside of Thomas, so naturally the experience of making road vehicle toys would translate into the road vehicles for the Thomas range. The ERTL road vehicles work amazingly with other Thomas diecast ranges, and I'd definitely love to collect them at some point. The Thomas ERTL range is definitely not one of the best Thomas merch ranges out there, but at the same time definitely not one of the worst. But for what the range tried to be back when it was still a thing, and literally being the birth of the Thomas diecast range, I do appreciate it for that. So yeah, that's all I got to say on the ERTL range, and I'll see you all in the next video, which will probably be on the different track systems in the diecast range. This is Portable Thomas, out. Bye.